Am I the a-hole for not warning my ex about his new partner? Just over a year ago, I, 35F, was engaged and totally in love. However, a few days before the wedding, he, 42M, dramatically called the whole thing off. This was after I asked if we could have some therapy, as I was finding some of his behaviors increasingly disrespectful despite my attempts to tackle it. But he responded by flipping out and sent all the cancellations to guests without even consulting me, and lots of other unkind and over-the-top behavior which I felt was really unnecessary and really hurt me. I was totally devastated and tried to make him come round, but he wouldn't. So eventually I stopped trying and just focused on rebuilding my life without him. I was then shocked and, to be honest, pretty gutted when just 3 months after our breakup, he was engaged to someone new, and just another 3 months after that, married to her. I know for sure that they didn't know each other before we broke up, so it was not because they were having an affair. I think it was just a rebound thing, and because he really wants to have a family ASAP, he just went for it. It so happens that I know her, 35F, vaguely from a couple years ago, and don't think very highly of her. She was often really miserable and would bring the happy energy of a room down as soon as she walked in. She was highly defensive, taking almost anything anyone says to her, no matter how well-intentioned, in the wrong way. So despite us being the same age and in the same community, I never bothered to befriend her, as she was just not my sort of person. She seemed to have a particular dislike of me and made a couple of passive-aggressive comments towards me. I don't know what spurred it, but didn't care enough to pull her up on it. I assumed she was just a miserable in herself, so wasn't something to take too personally. I never gave her another thought until a couple of years later when she married my ex. I didn't say anything to anyone when my ex got engaged or married. I thought it seemed like a strange choice, but thought maybe they will work out, as I don't know her well enough to know what nice qualities she has. When they were engaged, a couple of people who knew both me and her wanted me to contact her to warn her about his behavior with me, but I felt I couldn't predict if he would treat her with the same disrespect, so didn't want to involve myself and just wanted to concentrate on moving on. Recently, just a few months into their marriage, I bumped into him. We were both shocked to see each other and made polite small talk. He didn't look in good shape, and I could see, even though he was faking a smile, that he was actually really down. He said he was married, and I said I was aware and wouldn't have put them together, but was glad he found someone. I was about to wrap it up and go when he asked what I meant by I wouldn't have matched them, and if I knew her. I was surprised she had never told him she knew me, so said yes and told him how we'd met. He asked if I'd known, as apparently other people did but failed to warn him, that she'd been diagnosed with a host of mental health conditions and personality disorders. Apparently it was common knowledge, but everyone had kept stum or assumed she had told him herself. I said I didn't know, but it didn't surprise me to hear. He then got emotional and said I must have known he didn't realize what she is actually like and not warned him out of spite. I said it wasn't my responsibility at all. He left me, and what he chose to do with his life after that was none of my business. But his reaction was so emotional. It's made me think, even though he was an AH for leaving me, should I have warned either of them about the other and intervened to save two a-holes from making each other even more miserable? Her mental health issues have exasperated since the wedding apparently. Am I the a-hole, in the sense that I have given it more thought and said something to either of them before they got married?